You're listening to the Monday Night Community Show with me, Daniel. Great to have you along with us. We're joined in the studio with Richard Jeferies, a local artist. Richard, good evening. Welcome along to the show.
Good evening, Daniel. Thank you for having me back.
Now, we spoke to you a couple of times here at the Monday Night Community Show, but it's been about, of course, the Mudlarks Theatre Group and also the Turner's Lot Art Club. So I was wondering if this evening you could tell us a little bit about yourself as an artist.
Well, thank you very much. Yes, it's nice. I enjoy the little groups that I do, and I do like to be involved with them. But yes, as an artist myself, well, started painting when I was but a wee lad, and my dad sort of had his oil paints out, so I sort of wanted to play along and followed him. I've developed various styles over the years. I'm a draftsman by trade as well, so I find that the art and the drafting, they do complement each other. There are things you learn with technical drawing perspectives and scale and thing that you can apply to a picture very easily, especially if it becomes second nature, but as you do it as a job all the time. And artistically, I find that the technical drawings I have to produce, I find that as an artist, I can sort of see, is it making sense? Am I getting the information across to the man that I need to present this information to? And I find that the art complements that. And so it's a sort of two-way street. Currently, at the moment, I'm enjoying working in sort of what you sort of might call multimedia, but textured art. I like things that are coming out of the frame. I like to put a lot of depth in my frame at the moment. I'm using muslin, plaster, clay, wire to sort of bring things forward before I even start putting the paint over the top of that. I've even used sort of shells, stones, bits of glass, whatever I can sort of put into the picture and bring it out. I think at heart, I like to sculpt, and I do like playing with clay, and that's sort of like a default. If I get bored with anything else, get a bit of clay out and fiddle with it in my fingers. And I like when my paintings, I like to almost sculpt them out and bring them out, and so there's a very three-dimensional element to the artwork I'm creating. As you mentioned, I'm involved with Turner's Lot Art Club. I helped set it up last year. I think it's last year. Yeah. They're going from strength to strength. We've recently sort of changed location, but we're still going strong with more members every week. And of course, I've got my drama group, which work out of SHEPPEY Little Theatre. We're going strong. Not only that, I believe we will be helping you out on the show with some radio plays coming up in the near future. And now I'm doing the 365 A Year in SHEPPEY project, which is a series of photographs, one a day for an entire year, which should then be presented at the end of the year in a book exhibition format. And it's for the whole of the island. I'm just doing first 2 weeks in January specifically, and then any other photos throughout the year. And everyone needs to be involved. Everyone can take pictures and submit them online for this project.
Now, Richard, you were talking about the 365 A Year in the Life of SHEPPEY. What interested you about this project?
Well, I must admit, it's such a simple idea, and to just capture a record of a year in the life of the island in a photograph a day. I saw the original project in Faversham when they did it a couple of years ago, and then I think they're doing it this year as well again, but with different subject matters, and just sort of enjoying looking through the photographs throughout an entire year as they sort of just laid out there. As soon as the chance came to be involved in the Sheerness project, well, I couldn't pass it up really. It was just sort of so fascinating to sort of see just one picture a day, and then you've built up this wonderful record. I mean, we look at pictures now of the island and the high street and things as they were taken in the 1800s, and we're sort of trying to spot shops and things that just may or may not still be there, and where were they? Well, maybe in 100 years' time they'll be looking at these photographs. So yes, I couldn't resist getting involved with that project.
How will you approach your subjects?
Well, I'm personally, I'll be looking for the unusual, things that are, odd and different. I mean, already I've sort of seen things like a lone Christmas bauble in the gutter. It looks so sad there, where people, Christmas is over, New Year's into, and there's this lone little bauble sitting in, or things like, things you wouldn't normally spot. But I also sort of want to get involved in sort of photographing people and the spaces they occupy. I mean, you take a space like a street or a field or even just sort of an area on the beach. It looks completely different with and without people in it. There's a sort of different dynamic. The colours are different. You get the whole mix of people and shapes and shading. And so, yes, I'll be looking at how that sort of changes a place. And then, of course, with my artist's eye, I'll be trying to find different kind of lighting. Lighting especially plays a role for me in a lot of what I paint. I love highlights, I love dark shadows, and with photography you can get some lovely, wonderful effects like that way. I mean, yesterday I think it was, I was up at Barton's Point, right, and the sun's coming down, and it's quite low in the sky. I think it must have been about 4 o'clock, and it was really quite bright off the lake, so you're getting some high reflections off of the lake, and you were getting swans crossing in front of it, so you sort of had light, very bright halo of light, and then you had this dark sort of outline of the swan cutting in front of it. So I love the whole sort of contrasts, and then obviously I like darkness, but where there are pinpoints of light, sort of flashes of highlight, and sort of, again, contrasts come forward. So that's how I'll be looking at it.
Richard, during your assigned week, so what kind of pictures have you taken so far?
Well, quite a varied selection, with the eye on the unusual. I've already come up with some very strange, some very ordinary, but let's go for the strange one. As I mentioned before, New Year's Day, out for a walk, yep, going past a pub, broken glass on the road, and you think, that's pretty typical. But right in there's a little gold star. Now, where did that come from? Is it fallen off of a costume or something? And I think, yeah, that just makes something a little different. Then I've been on the beach, and of course the driftwood and the stuff washed up on our beach is fantastic. I mean, you could do a whole art project on that alone. Then I've found there's a flag, St Helens Road. There's a guy with a Union flag in his back garden, and the breeze was just catching it perfectly the other day, and I just couldn't resist it. It was just absolute perfect shape. There was another one. I was actually out driving with my son at night. Well, it was just sort of towards sunset, and we were actually going over the SHEPPEY crossing. So I thought, what we'll try here, we'll try and be a bit clever. I'll get him to take a picture out the side of the car of the river as we go past. Well, that didn't quite work. But one of the happy accident shots, when I sort of went back and started reviewing what was on the camera, was we had this wonderful horizon shot with the colours of the clouds developing in here. I'll show the viewers here. There we go. And the headlights streaking off in the distance and running towards you sort of made a very sort of vibrant, colour, exciting sort of picture. And it's that. I've been sort of photographing different. You've actually got to force yourself, go out, go and have a walk. But it's been a pleasure. It really has. And trying to find different subjects too. That's been sort of a little challenge. You're sort of trying to go to different places. So I'm finding out a little bit more about the place where I live, just by going out and having a walk to try and find something different to take a photograph of.
Making you relook at things.
It does. Well, you do. You start looking at things. Do you know, that's an interesting thing. And it really does. You start looking at the world slightly differently and perhaps spotting things that you hadn't spotted before. However, for tonight's picture, I would like to take a picture of you at work.
Right,
on your desk with the radio playing and everything all in the background. I thought that would look fantastic.
We'll do it while this next track's played. Are you predominantly a photographer?
Oh no, Daniel, no, definitely not. I really do think of myself as an artist with an all-encompassing brief. I'll paint, I'll draw, sculpt, act, write, and photograph. I do use photography to record inspirations and concepts, finding interesting textures. I mean, it's been quite useful for me taking part in this 365 because I found some interesting sort of textures and on walls and on the ground and in the sky that I can use for doing paintings as well, which have become nice as sort of references, mosses on stone, water puddles, leaves, things like that. But of course, if I'm halfway through a painting out and there's a subject and I can't finish it or the rain's come down, then out comes the camera, take a few snaps, and hopefully, I can complete the work at home with using these as reference points. But I do love taking photographs. I mean, I'm not predominantly a photographer, but I love taking pictures. I mean, the advent of digital cameras, as we were just discussing, absolute godsend. I'm very trigger happy with the old film cameras, and yes, it used to cost a fortune nipping down to chemists to try and get them developed. And as you said, you might start a 36 image roll of film, but it could be 4 weeks or so before you actually finished it, and that's absolutely true. Whereas now you've got this immediacy with the digital, and yes, it is absolute benefit. Miss some of the things you could do sort of manually, maybe some double exposures or tweaking the shot slightly in the camera when you used to take it with the old film. And yes, you can achieve these now digitally. You put them on your computer, you open up Photoshop, you've got 1,001 different effects to apply. But there was nothing quite so much as sort of holding the film, winding it back, double exposing an area, that kind of thing. However, yes, it used to cost a fortune, and now I must admit I save a fortune, but I have a hard drive absolutely full of pictures. But no, not predominantly a photographer, just an artist.
We briefly mentioned the Turner's Lot Art Club, but could you refresh our listeners what it is and when you meet?
Well, Turner's Lot, a wonderful group of artists that began last year, grew out of people that had come to the adult education art classes that I taught at the SHEPPEY Healthy Living Centre, and then has just gone on from strength to strength. We now meet Monday nights. It used to be Tuesdays, but we had to move recently, so we now meet Monday nights bi-weekly, so it's every 2 weeks, at the Trinity Church Hall, Sheerness, right in the town centre there. And in fact, they are meeting tonight, 7 till 9. So once I've finished here, Daniel, I shall pop on and give them your best regards. And so it'll be every 2 weeks. So from today, every 2 weeks, Monday nights, 7 till 9. They're a wonderful, friendly group. Anyone of any ability, I mean, even I'm allowed there. You don't have to be a professional. You can come along to learn, because everybody sort of helps each other. There's a big mix of talent and styles, definitely a big mix of styles going on there. And sort of everybody knows something about so many different forms of artwork. Whatever you want to do, you would find somebody that could help you with it. And what I should mention is Mark and Nikki of Turner's Lot have a brand new exhibition, their joint exhibition at the Sheerness Library, which will be starting at the beginning of February. And their art encompasses Celtic, fantasy, mythical. So there's going to be some wonderful images there, for all new artworks for you to see. Again, that'll be at the Sheerness Library beginning of February. And also I'm hoping to get the art group to design the sets for my drama group's pantomime. Right. So we're going to get the whole thing sort of tied in together in one sort of holistic production, because obviously the artists have some really interesting concepts and ideas for scene design that we can use for the drama group to act in front of. So yes, Turner's Lot, we meet Monday nights at every 2 weeks at Trinity Church Hall, Sheerness. And I should also mention, for those of you interested in the 365 A Year in the Life of SHEPPEY project, there's a website, www.kentcreativearts, that's KENTCREATIVEARTS.co.uk, and there you'll see the link, 365 A Year in the Life of SHEPPEY. Click on that. It's a simple online form to submit your pictures. Anyone can submit any picture for any day of the year, and then at the end of the year all those pictures will be gathered together, and they'll select a picture for every day. So they've got 365 pictures for the year. They are looking for sponsorship for the various art projects that they do, so anyone interested in helping out with sponsorship, no matter how much, would be welcome. Again, the contact details would be on the website there.
Richard, I'd like to thank you very much.
Daniel, I'd really like to thank you for inviting me along. It's been a great pleasure, and we've had a great chat in between the records as well, so it's been fantastic. Thank you.
Richard Jeferies, a local artist here at the Monday Night Community Show this evening.